Today we're going to install wget2, a replacement or successor of wget, which is installed on most Linux desktop operating systems, right? If we go to the command line and type in wget and hit tab, it auto-completes the wget, right? We have that on our system, and we can see what version we have. And there we go, 1.2, 1.2. But nothing if we type in wget2. No such file or directory. So what we're going to do is install what's called a tarball, and that's usually when they make a release, they make a tarball that you can download that has the source code and lots of things ready to go, right? As opposed to pulling it from the Git repo directly. So we're going to start with the tarball, and the first thing we're going to do is go and use wget itself, the very thing we're replacing, right, to get the tarball. And this is nice. It always pulls down the latest. And if we do that and we list this directory, what we have is the tarball. And I'm going to make a source directory to put this into. And move wget latest to source. And that'll put that into that source directory. And that's where we're going to work out of. All right. And the other thing I'm going to do too is we go along, I'm going to put all the steps that we execute over here so you can work at your own pace if you want to. All right, so now we have a tarball. The first thing we have to do is unpack it, right? So we can use tar extract file wget, and then that'll give us a wget directory, and that's where we're going to build our source code. So when we go into this directory, now you see everything that they package up for you. You've got the source code, some unit tests, that sort of thing. These README files are the same thing that you would see on a GitHub or GitLab page, typically. Install instructions and so on. And there's a good deal of depth here, right? We're going to do the simplest, let's just get this going, install, just so you can get a feel for what it's like to install software on your own. So the next step is to configure, right? And that's this script here we see in green. And this is going to look to see if you have all the software you need to build this software. And anything that we don't have, it'll flag. And this is where it becomes trial and error, right? And that's kind of the point of a video like this, to help you get through the trial and error so that you can successfully build this software for yourself. And there we go. The first thing is we do not have a compiler, right? Or at least one or two, right? GCC and CLang or Clang. So what we're going to do is install what are called dependencies. And the first thing I would do on any system where I build software is to at least install Build Essential, right? And this is typically, I think, geared towards building the kernel if you needed to build a module, but it installs a lot of the same tools we use for other types of software. So this is a great spot to start. And sure enough, right, there's our compiler, GCC, and a couple other tools. All right, so let's put that over here as well. And now we're going to run that configure script again and see if we get any further. And we do. So now these are all the checks regarding our compiler environment, looking for header files. And this is all stuff that we can get into in other videos. But for now, we'll let it do its thing. You can see over here, I've got 4 cores, and they're not working terribly hard. It's not maxing them out. And let's see. So we're missing an SSL library, right? Where if we're going to connect to HTTPS or other SSL protocols, we do need a library to build against. So that's our next dependency. And to solve that, we're going to install, I'm going to choose anyway, OpenSSL. And to do that, sudo apt install libssl dev for development. And now we can clear, and we'll put this over here. And there are other choices like you saw there. There was GNU TLS and I think Wolf SSL. If you have a preference, there's no problem installing other libraries like that. And if you want, we can do a deeper dive. Just leave a remark in the comments. So we'll run configure again and see if how much further we get. Again, we're about 1/3 utilization that we're kind of peaking at, about 30-ish% across all cores. It's not using much memory either. And we can just see, I saw that we skipped by the libraries. So our OpenSSL dependency install worked. And now we have a summary. This I like very much. Right? You can see what your program is effectively capable of, right? What is wget going to do for us? And you see a lot of no's here, right? And this is all that optional stuff that we're kind of talking about, right? Like gzip and bzip and other libraries, HTTP2. You could add support, but we need the libraries, much like when we installed lib SSL dev, right? That enabled SSL, which is up here, right? And that's what you see when we installed that. Now we have support for it. It can link against that library, and our resulting wget2 program can connect to anything that offers SSL. And that would be the same here. If we wanted to do HTTP 2.0, if we installed that library and added a flag to our configure script, it would enable the support, and you could use wget2 against HTTP2 servers. But anyway, at this point, if you see this, generally you're good to go. Unless you're missing something that you need in this output, you're ready to build the software, and that's done with the make command. And that was installed by way of the build essentials. And now it's taking all that source code and linking, building and linking. And, we're about same sort of CPU usage. We're not railing the 4 cores on this virtual machine. So see like this purple where they have some warnings. Typically that's okay. As long as you make it to the command line and you do not see failures, then these sort of warnings are fine. They're probably aware of them and just, aren't sure how they're going to fix it or if it even really matters in this case. And that's something you learn to see and accept when you're building bits of software. So at this point, we've built it. And typically before we use it, you want to run a test. And with the GNU stuff, make check is one way to do that. So we're going to run make check, and that's going to build wget and run a set of tests against it. And the reason you do this is if you see any failures, right? That's the last thing we want to see here. And scrolling up, whatever this test suite summary had, there were 20 tests. 17 were skipped, 3 passed, but we have no fails or errors or anything. So that's what we're looking for there. And the reason this might be is that, we don't have HTTP2 support. We didn't have that gzip support. So some of these tests might cover extra functionality that we just don't have in our executable or binary. So there's no point in running the test. And if we go down here, there's another set of tests to run, 5 tests, and all 5 pass, no errors. And then at this point, we can run sudo make install. And if we type in wget, it doesn't autocomplete for us, right? There isn't that space. You can hear the chime, and now we see wget2. And if I do this, hit version, wget2 is on the system, version 2.10. And that's it. Thanks for watching.